It had a moderately successful run at the box office, and now you can get it for home viewing on demand. It is the third installment in what has become a very popular franchise in the kids and family department. Let's talk about Paddington in Peru. Hey guys, Dan here. This is Dan Reviews It. Welcome to my movie review for Paddington in Peru. You can check this out now on demand at home. It is the third installment of what has become a very popular franchise with kids and families. In fact, at one point, Paddington 2 was the number one most highest rated movie on Rotten Tomatoes. Yes, there are a few with 100%, but this one, I guess, had more reviews than any other of those 100% reviews, so thereby making it the most successful and most popular. But years after its release, some curmudgeon said, no, this will not stand. I'm giving Paddington 2 a negative review, and so now I think it's at 99 or whatever, but obviously very successful. And this was quite the long distance between the second and the third movie. So you had the first one in 2014, the second one 2017, and now 2025. And this came with some changes in cast and crew. We'll talk about this here momentarily while I review the movie. But first, let me welcome you back to Dan Reviews It. If you are a subscriber already, thank you so much for that. Love it when you come back and check out my videos. But if you're not, please consider subscribing and click that notification bell too so you get the alerts for all my video drops. I do try to post just about every day, so there's always a lot going on here on the channel. And of course, you could just like or comment this on this video as well. That helps the YouTube algorithm help other people find my videos. So the first two movies in the series were directed by Paul King, and so that is one of the major changes with this one is that we have a different director, and Paul King actually couldn't really direct the third one. He was directing Wonka at the time, which is a great movie. I would say probably better than this, in my opinion. But this one was directed by Dougal Wilson, who this is his first feature film. Odd that the studio would give a brand new film director kind of a hot property like this, but there you go. And he's mostly known for his work in music videos and commercials. Maybe he's done some TV as well, but in terms of feature films, this is the first time out, so pretty striking. But the other major change that I think the audience will recognize way before they know that the director was switched is that Sally Hawkins declined to return for this one. So we have Emily Mortimer in her role as Mary Brown. But everybody else is back in play, including the children who have, grown up with the series. I don't think I've ever seen the children in any other movies or shows. Maybe they do some stuff with the BBC. I mean, everybody in this movie is British for the most part, so maybe they do stuff over there, and I just am unaware of it. But cool that they have grown up with this series as well. But of course, returning, you have Hugh Bonneville, Jim Broadbent, Julie Walters, Imelda Staunton as the voice of Aunt Lucy, who I can't remember if she was part of the second one or not, but definitely she was in the first one as we sort of got the origin of Paddington. And then Ben Whishaw, of course, returns as Paddington Brown. And then newcomers to the scene include Olivia Colman and Antonio Banderas. They always get some really, big names to be, Nicole Kidman was in the first one. You had Hugh Grant in the second one. People just love this series, love coming back to it. And, of course, for the newcomers, I'm sure they love being introduced to it. And so this is... basically Paddington goes to Peru to find his Aunt Lucy. So Aunt Lucy, he gets a letter from her saying, she's very lonely without him and all of that. And she's currently staying with a bunch of nuns. She's not in a convent because she's not a nun herself, but I guess it's a community for older bears or what have you, and it's run by nuns. So Olivia Colman plays the head nun, and she gives us a musical performance, which is a lot of fun. This is not a musical movie, but there is a musical performance where she sings about Paddington coming and Paddington in Peru and all of this. It's a little Sound of Music nod because she's running on a hilltop at one point and she's singing nuns. So, that was funny. But it's not like it's over the opening credits. Like it's 25 minutes into the movie. So it's just sort of one sort of bizarrely placed musical number. But I like that. Sometimes I can't think of any off the top of my head, but every so often there'll be like a non-musical movie that just has sort of, 500 Days of Summer, I guess, is more of a dance movement rather than him singing. But yeah, every so often we'll get a movie like that. And I think that's kind of fun, the characters busting out in the song. Really seemingly for no reason. But so that is the basic plot. Paddington convinces the family. Well, he says he's going regardless, but the family takes it upon themselves to, yes, let's have an adventure. The kids are growing up. Mary's like, hey, this could be our last adventure with the whole family, so let's go. A fourth Paddington movie is in the works, so I don't think it will be their last adventure, but in any event, this is not as good as the first two movies. Let's talk about that on the top. I just think the first two were more... I don't know if magical is the right word, but it makes sense that Paul King went on to do the Wonka movie because that was very magical. I think there is a sense of sort of magic and whimsy that is a little bit missing from this movie. Also, I think some of the plot schematics are a little bit obvious. And look, I know this is a family movie; it's a kids movie. I get that, but I think the how do I want to put this? The villains are not quite as juicy as in previous movies. In fact, the first Paddington is what turned me around on Nicole Kidman. I was on sort of not an anti-Kidman kick, but I just was, I don't know, she was churning out these movies I didn't really care for, and she wasn't giving me anything. And then she was in that first movie as the villain. I was like, oh my God, Nicole Kidman's good again, and then since then she's given us a lot of great roles and movies. But in any event, I don't think the villains are as juicy this time around. But I will say, I think there are some interesting twists here. And I think the messaging of this movie is some of the best that we've seen in this series. The messaging being about chosen family, because obviously Aunt Lucy is Paddington's, maternal family or whatever, blood family. But, the fact that he sees the Browns as his real true family. Look, I saw the movie with my adopted sister, and I said to her afterwards, hey, that's some pretty cool messages in this movie, about your chosen family and all of that. So I think that's an important message. I think it's a good one, and I think it's one of the best that we've gotten in this series. However, I think the sort of downside of that is this movie just isn't as fun or as funny as I think the first two were. For me, those first two, and I actually think I like the first one a little bit better than the second one. I know people love Paddington 2. They're both in like the A range though for me. This one is a bit of a step down for sure. But look, another enjoyable one. I'm looking forward if they do a fourth one. I'm all in for it. I am there, excited to see what big celebrities they will get for that one. And Emily Mortimer as Mary, she was fine. But I must admit I missed Sally Hawkins a little bit. I'm not sure what the reason is that she declined to participate, but maybe just not wanting to repeat her characters or whatever. But she was a little bit missed. I like Emily Mortimer a lot, but just not used to seeing her in that particular role. So I will leave Paddington in Peru with a B. You can check this out now on demand for your home pleasure. All right, thank you so much for watching Dan Reviews It, and I'll catch you next time.